A return back to the old uniforms. Let's talk about in this video today. And welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. My name is Greg. I am your host, and of course this channel is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you have subscribed to the channel, and when you do, also make sure you hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. So as a lot of teams around the league are unveiling alternate uniforms, and we've had some really cool looking uniforms that we have seen throughout the league, and we've seen some that might be a little bit of head scratchers. Of course, talking about teams like the Minnesota Vikings, for instance, who I think it was them who had like the ice uniforms. Is it right? Was it the Minnesota Vikings that had the ice uniforms? And so a lot of fun that Nike is having with these uniforms, and of course, if you walk back to a little bit of history. Nike, before that they came into the NFL league, had college football. And so you saw college football teams wearing a lot of different alternate uniforms. Not just the uniforms, but the helmets as well. They were really getting fancy with it. Some were awful. Some were pretty cool. You thought of anything. And it's funny because if you're following your favorite college football team, you really didn't know week to week what they were going to look like. You're used to their standard uniforms, and then all of a sudden they have for instance, I follow Virginia Tech, and for the longest time it was the maroon helmets with the VT, and then all of a sudden you have like white helmets or maybe sort of metallic helmets and army camouflage helmets, things like that. So Nike really started to get very creative with how they did the uniforms in college. And then, of course, back about 12 years ago, it's hard to believe it's been that long, but 12 years ago, they signed something with the NFL and started providing the uniforms to the NFL, supplanting Reebok. And they had planned to be creative and all of that with uniforms in the NFL, and it seemed like now 12 years later they're finally starting to do that. So a lot of you folks, of course, when the Washington Commanders became the Commanders a couple of years ago, unveiled new uniforms. Of course, it came with mixed feelings. I would say the love for the black alternate uniforms are mixed at best. Some people say they're fire, and other people say that they look like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the other uniforms, people have not really warmed up to the white jerseys. They feel like it looks, at least from TV, it feels like it looks more like the Cardinals than it does, the Commanders, or if you're old school, the Redskins. And so this year, Washington decided that they were going to unveil a change to their uniforms. A lot of people have been calling for this because they just feel like, just a lot of people don't really like the uniforms. Aside from the rebranding completely, you get very few who really do like the uniform. So what did the Commanders organization do? Well, they released a tweak to the uniform. They're bringing back the gold pants. Now, I was reading the Twitter reaction to this, And again, it's mixed emotions on this. You know, people are mixed on the yellow pants. Or if you want to say gold pants, you can say gold pants. But this does at least make it look a little bit more like the 2012 through, what was it, 2016, 2017 Washington Redskins. Bringing back the gold pants to try to help make this team look a little bit more like what they used to look like. That's the best way I could put it. Do I like it? I think it's somewhat of an improvement. I'm not 100% sold on it though, but I think it looks better. And I'm going to go against the grain myself, going against my own self, and say that this looks better than the white pants because you have gold or yellow, however you want to call it, a golden yellow numbers on the jersey, and I think it just makes a little more sense to have matching pants with that. If the numbers and lettering and all that were in white, like the old burgundy jerseys were when the Washington Redskins wore them, which they didn't wear them a whole lot. Well, not until after about, what was it, 2001, 2002. I think it was around the time of Marty Schottenheimer. You actually saw the Washington Redskins adopting the burgundy jerseys as their home jerseys. Whereas for so many years prior to that, it was your standard white jersey on burgundy pants, and not very often did you see the burgundy jerseys. But I digress. Those jerseys had white numbers on them with a faint gold outline around them. So, of course, white pants looked better with that than yellow pants. And at least that's my opinion, right? So, and you know what they say about opinions, but I believe that this looks better. It does look a little bit more like the older uniforms, at least the yellow pants. It does look better with the yellow numbers, and the shoes. The shoes feel a little out of place. I'd probably do the either burgundy shoes or the gold shoes to kind of fill out the whole matching. But other than that, I think this is a little bit of a positive correction. I think most people feel like it's the correct move. I feel like it is. There hasn't been anything released in terms of the white jerseys. I'm assuming those stay the same. I'm assuming the white jerseys, because they have burgundy numbers, will probably stick with the burgundy pants. I don't think that would look good with the yellow pants, but we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they do go with that combination, but it's a step in the right direction. That's the biggest thing. Coincidentally enough, RG3 tweeted out, "Would you, you're in the safe." He always posts these Twitter messages saying you're in a safe place. Remember that, folks. You're always in a safe place with RG3. But he posted, "Would you?" Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but would you fans love or be willing to go back to the old logo? And overwhelmingly, the answers on his tweet was yes. I posted yes, yes, yes. Everybody else was like, yes, absolutely. It really goes to show you that anybody who spoke out against the logo was simply, number one, that probably wasn't really truly a Washington fan. Two, I think that they just hopped on some sort of woke bandwagon, that they didn't really understand the whole thing. They just heard logo racist, and so they go with that, and that's good enough for them without really thinking on their, using their own noggin with that. But overwhelmingly, everybody was like, yes, go back to the old logo. Now, RG3 doesn't have any pull within the organization to say, hey, I sent out this poll and everybody wants the old logo, so can you make it happen? Lord, I wished he did have that type of pull. Now maybe if it was Magic Johnson or Josh Harris even, sending out a tweet like that, then I'd be like, oh yeah, yes, make it happen yesterday. I mean, you could even keep the same uniforms for all I care, but bring back the logo. And you don't even have to bring back the name, just bring back the logo. Because guess what? Fans are going to call this team whatever they want to call them. Commanders, Redskins, Skins, so it doesn't really matter. But I think what really does unify the fans when it comes to aesthetics is the logo. You're always going to get a small pocket of the fans who are going to accept anything that the franchise does, and they're going to say, the W logo is fire. The new uniforms are fire. The name is the greatest name ever, and all this stuff. You're always going to get a pocket of fans who say that, and then you're also going to get those same fans who are going to down, not all of them, but they're going to down the fans who are like, truthfully, refresh was trash, but I'm willing to accept it. But even if we all agree that maybe the name should have been changed, I'm not going to get into that here, but everybody, I think, for the most part, loved the old logo. So I guess I'm kind of going down different rabbit holes, but I'll just say this. Maybe the yellow pants are a step in a direction where, number one, the franchise is receptive to hearing some things that the fans are saying. Fans have said, for the most part, fans they didn't like the uniforms that much. They felt something needs changing. So bringing back the gold pants, I think, are in a step in the right direction. And who knows, it may be one of those, let's do a little tweaking here and there, until that we do, number one, move to a new stadium, which would possibly be a great time to unveil the next rebranding. And folks, honestly, I would say it's more likely that happens, a rebranding, than not, because I don't think that argument is ever going to go away. Even if they win Super Bowls, I don't think that argument's going to go away. I know that winning solves everything, but honestly, I think that the way that the rebranding went about, people are still very bitter about that, and I would think that they would just love to hit the reset button, just like basically the franchise has done with a new ownership, new coaching, and a lot of new players on the team. There's basically a reset, a retool, whatever you want to call it. So this would be the best time to think about, okay, let's tweak it as much as we possibly can. Let's continue to keep a rebrand within the conversation, even if it's not on the front burner right now. And I think that is the message that the franchise has sent out. That while some people took it as, see, they're not even thinking about rebranding, so just forget it. That's never been the conversation, or that's never been the message that the franchise has sent out. They're trying to keep the fans appeased with what is right now, because the number one goal, well, other than winning, but franchise organizational business goal is a new stadium. So once that has been laid out, they can start thinking about a rebrand. And I think that's still in the conversation, folks. If you go back and you listen to any type of response that the organization has had, they've never said flat out, no, we are the Commanders forever. That's how it's going to be. People need to just forget about it, focus on winning. They never really gave that message. They gave more of a message of rebranding is not something that is in the forefront right now. But they never have completely closed the door on that. So I think until you do that, you're going to get little tweaks here and there to try to keep fans pulled in, try to keep them feeling like this is the team that I grew up rooting for. Although I will say, I grew up in the 80s, so the glory years to me were the times that they won the Super Bowls. And when they won the Super Bowls, they won them in the jerseys that were white, the pants that were burgundy, and of course the Chief logo on the sides. And that is pretty much what their standard uniforms were throughout the 80s and most of the 90s. Actually, probably pretty much all of the 90s. So I associate more with those uniforms. And that's why I feel like if they could go back and kind of tweak the white jerseys to make those look a little bit more like the old jerseys. I mean, to be honest with you, just go back to the old jerseys. Go back to the jerseys that they wore during the couple of Washington football team era, where it's just white jersey with Washington on the front. Just go back to that. People loved that. It was a clean look. I'd be okay with that. And I think a lot of people would. So anyway, it's hard to fathom that I've been able to talk about this for over 18 minutes. But, it's funny how stuff like this just, really gives you a lot to talk about. But, it's just a simple change, but I think it's a step in the right direction. Folks, as always, I hope you enjoyed the content here. If you did, please give it a like, give it a share. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the whole situation with the yellow pants? You like them, hate them? I know a lot of people are going to say won't be satisfied until we go back completely to the Redskins, and that's fair. All right, folks, I will see you in the next one. Take care.